sun start to rise. The energy felt.
Thank you, viewers. I was quickly hurrying us away into our weekend, but we do have one more guest this morning, Nickosy Phillips, political leader, the Unity of the People. And Nickosy is here to talk to us about a special business summit. So welcome, Nickosy.
Hi, pleasant good morning to you and pleasant good morning to the viewers. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and of course, it's always a pleasure to have you share information with us. So this morning, we're talking about the Africa Open for Business Summit. Now, this is a summit that is not new. It's usually held, all right? This is the 2025 edition. And it's being convened by the African Renaissance and Diaspora Network, right? In partnership, of course, with another organization. But I want you to tell us a little bit about the African Renaissance and Diaspora Network, and then we get more into this business summit.
Well, it's an internationally operating NGO headquartered in the United Nations in New York. And what they do is to accelerate the attainment of African Renaissance by advocating for supporting United Nations programs with government educations, artists, intellectual properties, cultural exchange, marketing of food products, agricultural products and stuff, and they bridge the gap of the African diaspora with communities and international and both local and regional CARICOM nations. And my invitation there is to, under the African diaspora, because I'm now with the African Union,
Right.
is to also to bridge the gap from our NGO as the ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago, utilize and whatever cultural aspects we have in Tobago, not only with the food, but the cultural part of Trinidad and Tobago as well.
Right. Now, tell us when this business forum will take place and where
Right.
and
It will
when.
be Friday, the 26th of September, the 2025, at the United Nations, the same time when the General Assembly will be.
Right.
So I'll be taking a contingent also. Some of them will be there already. They'll be dealing sometimes. Some of them will be marketing because we'll be marketing some of the things from Tobago. We have a person in Trinidad who does African wear. We have persons who do African jewelry. We're looking at benebos and the different stuff. And while they're there, I'll be switching and interchanging into the General Assembly.
Right.
Where I think your Prime Minister will be leading a delegation to the General Assembly of
Yes,
the
she
United
will be,
Nations.
right.
And I'll be in and out of the both African diaspora and the General Assembly at the same time.
Yes, and I have to be a little facetious. I heard you say you're Prime Minister, but it's the Prime Minister of Trinidad and
yes,
Tobago, so
yes,
it's our Prime
yes.
Minister, right? Yes, and she did share with the public that she will
Yes.
be leading that delegation. When have you attended this business summit before?
Yes, last year, but it was the brief, that's where we were meeting and doing policies in terms of the African nations, and where we had shared ideas of what Trinidad and Tobago culture has in terms of education policy, youth policy, sustainable development policies at that time. But this is my first time attending the African Summit and African Network marketing itself.
Okay.
And I think I have more information as to what I'm supposed to do and what I'm supposed to bring to make sure that we bridge the gap from that African diaspora to Trinidad and Tobago, especially Tobago.
Right.
And I'm looking at my community, especially because through the Assemblyman, Mr. Craig, there was this tourism project that they did in Tobago with communities, and I would have issued a project in. So I'm using that same project, which is the Equitable Economic Growth and Community Empowerment in the community of Buku and environs, to work there to market that same project, to bridge that gap in the cultural aspect. Because Buku and the area of the western side is more cultural. We have the folk theatre, which will now re-elected through the heritage and things. So I'm trying to bridge that cultural gap, the agricultural gap, whatever gap we can build with the African diaspora. I'm trying to do that as much as possible.
Right. And though you would have hinted, I still want to ask, because I want you to hone in on that. Why is attending the Africa Open for Business Summit important to you? Why is this something you would follow up on?
Because we need to bridge that gap. Right now we are racially divided, and I am not about the racial divide. We're looking at new avenues for market, especially in Tobago space, because a lot of things that are happening, when it is bad, it is Trinidad and Tobago, but when it is good, it is just Trinidad alone. I'm looking to bridge the gap whereby Tobago literally needs a tourism boost, a proper tourism boost, a proper marketing boost, a proper hype, especially with the African diaspora. We are seeing persons traveling and going and saying they market in Tobago and nothing comes back. And with me, I think that should be different, and I'm trying to put things in place that things should happen and could happen. And even though starting off in my community, at least it's a push for Tobago and bringing people here. I did it in 2019 when I did Conscious in the Caribbean. We had over 2 flights filled with persons here, and we did a long 2 weeks of events. So I'm looking to bridge that gap here that Tobago actually could be on the map, because a lot of persons still in America and other places only hear Trinidad. And when they hear Trinidad and Tobago, they think it's Jamaica or some African country,
Right.
Caribbean country, Jamaica. So I'm looking to see what I can do and, still fly the flag of Trinidad and Tobago, although I'm representing under the African diaspora.
Right. And at this summit, are you the person representing Trinidad and Tobago, or even Tobago? Are there other persons from Trinidad and Tobago who would often be at this summit?
Well, I'm not sure. I speak for Trinidad and Tobago Youth Soul Rise, the NGO, and I speak as the political leader. Now I'm a minority voice at the United Nations, recognizable of my political party, Unity of the People.
Okay.
So in that capacity, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'm still a Trinidad and Tobago citizen, so
Right.
I will, if I'm asked questions about Trinidad and Tobago, it doesn't take anything for me to
You'll
still
always
represent.
be flying the flag.
As his Prime Minister mentioned, carrying a delegation, I do not know if they will be representing Trinidad and Tobago in that capacity. But if the space is vacant and I'm called upon to say anything to represent, I will do it in the best capacity and the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago as much as possible.
All right. And of course, we thank you for stopping by. It's always interesting to know about your travels and how you continue to represent Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, your youth NGO and representing the people the best you see how. So we wish you safe travel. And of course, I'm sure we would invite you to get a report to find out how things went. And it's always important, when people share these types of information, we do follow-ups to understand how things turned out. So thank you so much for stopping by this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so viewers, this is it. We have no more guests, so this is my goodbye, or see you later until the next time. And remember to be safe. We want you around. I want to be around. We want our families to be around. So let's be safe and look out for each other.